Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining Universities Hospital's third annual Research and Innovation Day. For those that may not know me, my name is Mukesh Jain. I serve as the Chief Academic Officer for University Hospitals and will serve as your host as well for today's symposium. Our Research and Innovation Day represents a collaboration between University Hospitals Research and Education Institute and UH Ventures. Over the past several months, members of both entities and colleagues, along with colleagues from Institutional Relation and Development, as well as Marketing Communications, have been working really hard to ensure that we have an exciting and educational program for you today. I also wish to thank the support of our senior leaders, Dr. Simon and McGarrian in particular, for their continued and unwavering support of the academic mission. And last, but certainly not least, I want to thank Pure Storage for their exceptionally generous support and sponsorship of this year's event. This year's event, the theme is the immune system, that network of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to fight disease and keep us healthy. This seemed very proper and topical given the past 18 months where so much of our life has been controlled by a very problematic virus. What I think today's talks will highlight is not only the importance of the immune system, but that it has to work just right. An improperly functioning immune system, either too active or too inactive, can lead to disease. And not just infections, but diseases that are major drivers of morbidity and mortality worldwide, such as cancer and heart disease, amongst others. And then we'll have a second keynote in the afternoon on innovation, followed by presentations by the recipients of the MedTech Flyers Awards, jointly sponsored by UH Ventures and UH R&E. But before we get too much farther into the morning, I'd like to share some remarks from Dr. Daniel Simon. Dan was planning to be here in person, but due to a family matter, he had to go to California yesterday. As many of you know, Dr. Simon is President, Academic and External Affairs, and Chief Scientific Officer for our health system. Most of you know him as a remarkable healthcare leader, but what is often overlooked is that he represents that increasingly rare physician scientist who is a true triple threat, an outstanding researcher, gifted clinician, and committed mentor. And in fact, his NIH-funded research program is thematically linked to today's focus on the immune system. His work focuses on the immune system and heart disease, efforts that have provided the foundation for novel therapeutics that are currently under development. He asked that I share the following remarks, and so I'll just take a minute to read them to you. Dear Mukesh, I'm sorry that I cannot be here in person today due to a family funeral in Los Angeles. Today we celebrate discovery and innovation, which are central to our vision, advancing the science of health and art of compassion. Indeed, over 150 years, UH has been at the leading edge of not just delivering care, but changing standard of care. Our commitment to research and training the next generation does many things. It enhances health system differentiation, creates competitive advantage by attracting patients seeking new drugs, devices, and cell therapies, offers hope for patients with no options, improves healthcare outcomes by implementing evidence-based practices, attracts healthcare leaders, researchers, innovators, industry partners, and trainees, produces intellectual property, drives philanthropy, and finally, grows the biomedical ecosystem in Northeast Ohio. The organizing committee should be congratulated for an incredible program that will feature some of the best basic translational clinical researchers, along with 3 MedTech Flyer awardees. Of course, we are all here today for our keynote speakers, Dr. Peter Agre, 2003 Nobel Laureate in Chemistry, and Mr. Ryan Allison, a leader in digital strategy and innovation. I hope you enjoy this exciting day. Thanks very much, Dan, and our thoughts are certainly with you and your family today. Now, over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to give you a very high-level overview of the state of academics at UH in 2021, and then we'll transition to the rest of the program. One housekeeping issue. For the audience who are watching our event, please use the chat option to submit your questions. All questions will come to our administrative team anonymously, and they'll be conveyed to me either in written form or by text. We'll do our best to have speakers answer as many questions as possible, but undoubtedly, we will not be able to get through all of them. As such, if your question was not answered, one option is to simply email it to uhrne@uhhospitals.org. We will make sure to forward the question to the proper speaker with the hope that they can respond when time permits. And with that, let's begin. I always like to begin every year by reminding the audience of our rich history that dates back to 1866, when the institution was founded in the aftermath of the Civil War on the simple but beautiful principle that the most needy are the most worthy. Near the turn of the century, 19th century, UH and Case Western Reserve University formed a partnership that has been critical to the success of both organizations for over 125 years. Over the years, there have been many contributions to science and medicine, and I simply note a few in the red circles or at the bottom of the screen. Discoveries and advances that range from the treatment of goiter, infant formula, surgical approaches to heart disease, the discovery of coagulation factors, and fast forward to the 2000s, major advances in the development of MR technologies, treatment of hypertension, and new diagnostics and therapeutics for gastrointestinal cancer, efforts that are impacting the practice of medicine worldwide. And along the way, a few individuals have graced the institution, either as staff or trainees, that have received the highest honors in biomedical research. Robbins, poliovirus; Gilman, G proteins; Murad, nitric oxide signaling; and of course, Peter Agre, water channel. And we will hear from distinguished alum Peter Agre a little bit later this morning. It's also helpful to always start with a reminder of our mission and vision. Mission: to heal, to teach, to discover. Vision: advancing the science of health and the art of compassion. A few years back, we undertook a strategic plan and advanced an academic vision to be a next-generation health system dedicated to accelerating discovery, innovation, and translation of scientific breakthroughs which address unmet medical needs and enhance the lives of patient, community, world. We felt this could be best accomplished, and this is what the cartoon in the center of your slide seeks to advance, that this could be best accomplished by integrating research and education with clinical excellence, by supporting team science, and by engaging with strategic partners to advance our research efforts across basic translational, clinical, population health domains to achieve optimal impact on human health. Now, critical to our success has been the very purposeful investment in key entities that allow discoveries, be it in the laboratory, a new device, a new app. All need to be advanced for clinical impact in what I like to call the virtuous cycle of discovery to impact. The establishment of the University Hospitals Research and Education Institute as the principal entity that supports the research aspiration of our faculty, along with graduate and undergraduate medical education, was an important step in achieving this aspirational goal. In addition, we have invested significant time and resource into critical entities that make this virtuous cycle functional. New discoveries can be advanced as a therapeutic through the Harrington Discovery Institute, or as a diagnostic or device via UH Ventures. And these diagnostics, therapeutics, devices can be assessed in clinical trials within our clinical research center and ultimately assessed at the population level. The latter, assessment at the population level, remains an important growth area, and I'll come back to that towards the end of my remarks this morning. These efforts have collectively culminated in strong, steady growth of the research enterprise, both from federal and non-federal sources, as highlighted for you in the red box. And if you look at the table on the right-hand side of the slide, you'll note that our faculty, in addition to research, continue to invest time and energy in training the next generation of physicians and scientists, be it at the medical student, resident, or fellow level. Indeed, we are home to one of the largest graduate medical education training programs in the nation. So I'm going to use this cycle that I laid out for you on a couple of slides ago as a roadmap to highlight some of the major achievements of this past year. I'll begin with the discovery circle highlighted for you in red and share the efforts of our faculty, the output of our centers of excellence, and the critical importance of partnership. And I'll begin with the latter, partnerships, and arguably the most important of these, which is Case Western Reserve University, that, as I noted earlier, dates back to 1895. Over the past couple of decades, there have been a number of agreements between the two institutions. Most importantly, earlier this year, with strong support from our senior leaders of both organizations, Drs. Magarian and then President Cowan, we completed a 10-year agreement to work closely to advance research and education for the benefit of both institutions and the broader Cleveland biomedical ecosystem. An outgrowth of this agreement was the establishment of a Joint Strategic Leadership Committee, JSLC, that provides oversight of joint recruitment and retention, along with oversight of educational and financial considerations. This team has been meeting every other week since since the spring of 2021. And I think it's fair to say that the engagement between the two institutions has never been more robust. We have reviewed 10 recruitments and retentions, 2 successful, and several more are in progress. And in education, we're helping train more Case Western Reserve University medical students and PA students than ever before. In fact, the work with the PA students has led to national recognition just earlier this week from the PA Education Association. So congratulations to Erin Slay and all her colleagues. Along with the partnership with Case Western are many other institutions, both local and global. I simply highlight on this slide a few efforts. Local engagements include efforts in cancer, computational biology, AIDS research, brain health, digestive diseases, imaging, and clinical research. Many of these involve the other 3 hospital systems, along with Case Western. With the strong encouragement from Drs. Magarian and Mihailovich, colleagues from both UH and the Cleveland Clinic have also been meeting quarterly to explore strategies to strengthen collaborations in 5 major areas of common interest. One of these, importantly for our conversation today, is research. Earlier this year, our Northeast Ohio community was fortunate to receive a $100 million investment from the state to establish the Cleveland Innovation District. It is anticipated that this effort will bring 20,000 new jobs and $3 billion in economic impact over the next 10 years. Leaders from all 5 institutions have been meeting monthly to ensure proper alignment and coordination to achieve this stated goal. And globally, to the far right of your screen, we have partnerships in drug development through the efforts of the Harrington Discovery Institute and its collaboration with the University of Oxford, and in medical student training with our relationship with Technion in Israel. I mentioned earlier the importance of distinctive programs, what we call research centers of excellence, that represent areas of focus that align research with clinical strengths to maximally advance standard of care. We focused over the last couple of years on brain health, heart disease, imaging, and cancer. And these efforts have already enjoyed significant success, be it in terms of grant funding, such as the $15 million Alzheimer's Disease Research Center grant led at our institution by Alan Lerner, or the $18 million grant between Wayne State and University Hospitals to bring an integrated approach to vascular care to Afro-American populations, our leader here being Dr. Sanjay Rajagopalan. These centers have also been magnets for robust philanthropy, such as the Wesley Center for Immunotherapy. And most importantly, these innovative programs are improving patient care and outcomes. Now, while we have made good progress, there is obviously much more that needs to be accomplished. So, UH-R&E leadership continue to partner with UH Ventures to offer support for the most innovative ideas. And you'll hear about these in the afternoon session today. We partner with the Office for Community Impact, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, SETI for short, to encourage and support the careers of underrepresented faculty. And with leaders in institutional relations and development, Jory Mintz, marketing and communications, Matt Eves, and grants and contracts, Kumar Mukesh. We continue to coordinate efforts to identify and help our faculty successfully garner research support from a variety of funding sources. I think you will agree if you glance at the bottom right of your slide. I think you'll agree that these efforts have been remarkably productive, as evidenced by the year-over-year growth in extramural support of 10 million to 16 million, and this year, well over 40 million. The impressive growth reflects the hard work of many, many faculty, of which only a subset are shown for you here. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for all that you do to advance university hospitals, and most importantly, to impact human health. Let's move forward to critical entities that help our faculty develop life-saving diagnostics, therapeutics, and devices. One of the most unique programs at university hospitals is the Harrington Discovery Institute. Founded in 2012 by a gift from the Harrington family and led by Dr. Jonathan Stamler, the Harrington Discovery Institute seeks to help investigators accelerate the movement of their discoveries from bench to bedside to benefit society. This is achieved by identifying the best discoveries from across the globe and by providing pharma-level expertise by a team of experts led by Dr. Diana Wetmore. She and her team seek to help these investigators take their discoveries and develop new medicines to address unmet medical challenges. Today, as you can see on the bottom left of your slide, the Harrington Discovery Institute has 4 major programs focused on brain health, rare disease, pandemic response, and a disease-agnostic physician-scientist effort. And over the past 9 years, if you look at the figure on the right side of your screen, over the past 9 years, this entity has helped nearly 150 investigators across the globe launch 30 companies and advance 15 life-saving therapies that are entering into early clinical studies. Diagnostics and devices are also critical to patient care. Over the past few years, UH Ventures has evolved into a formidable entity that, in collaboration with the Tech Transfer Office at Case Western, is helping our investigators commercialize their innovative ideas. A major milestone, shown for you in the center of your slide, a major milestone occurred just a few weeks ago, thanks to the remarkable efforts of Drs. Amitabh Chak, Joe Willis, and Sandy Markowitz, who invented an esophageal cancer prevention test. Their technology was licensed to Lucid Diagnostics, and as you can see, Lucid, along with our 3 leaders, enjoyed a $70 million initial public offering on the NASDAQ global market. Congratulations, Sandy, Amitabh, and Joe. You make us enormously proud. One of the key entities within University Hospitals Research and Education Institute is our Clinical Research Center. The UH Clinical Research Center, or UHCRC for short, is the central engine for clinical trials. I want to remind everyone that University Hospitals was one of the first 5 hospitals in the country to have hospital-based clinical research units. Today, this entity is led by Dr. Grace Mukesh, and she and her team oversee nearly 3,000 human subject studies. This past year, the CRC team has been busier than ever. They have launched efforts to increase community research engagement. They have launched a mobile van, picture shown for you on the left-hand side of your slide, a mobile van so that they can go out to patients, not inconvenience them, but meet them where they are to help engage them in clinical research. They have also been at the leading edge of efforts to assess various COVID therapeutics, everything from remdesivir to the vaccine trials. And most recently, Dr. Mukesh was recipient of a very large $17 million grant from the National Institutes of Health, focused on the study of what is likely to be a really challenging problem. You've heard of it, called long COVID syndrome. Education is one of the pillars of our tripartite mission. In graduate medical education, under Dr. Nederos's leadership, the past year has been witness to an outstanding retreat that focused on the role of educators in teaching and role modeling to improve high-value care. Continued improvements in the health system science curriculum, established first in this nation by Dr. Nederos a few years ago, and partnerships with SETI on augmenting underrepresented in medicine trainees. And Dr. Leisman, along with her colleague, Dr. Wei Zhang, have been busy expanding UH support for the next generation of trainees, be it with medical students at Case Western Reserve, with Neomed, or the Technion. We have a remarkably gifted faculty, and this slide, obviously not meant to be read, but this slide highlights the fact that 50 of our colleagues were promoted across all ranks in 2021, and another 63 new faculty joined university hospitals. Congratulations to our 50 colleagues for being promoted. It's a really remarkable achievement in academia, and a warm welcome to the 63 new colleagues as part of the UH family. And the final update for 2021 is 2 special inaugural lectures, both delivered by UH alums. One that we celebrated just a few weeks ago, and the second one will be later today. The first was a leadership lecture delivered by the current CEO and former UH alum, CEO of Emory Health, and UH alum Dr. John Lewin. And later this morning, we'll hear from a very distinguished UH alum, Dr. Peter Agre. I hope to have convinced you through this short presentation that the state of academics is strong. We have made excellent progress over the past few years, but there is, of course, much more work to be done. Looking ahead at 2022 or beyond, I think you can expect a significant focus on strengthening our health services research efforts. We have enjoyed great success in research in this domain in 2021, but we need, as many of our leaders, such as Dr. Marlene Miller, have underscored, we need to develop a more coordinated effort and to invest in critical infrastructure that will make us even more successful. In addition, other goals include developing efforts to reward faculty for their academic activities, continuing to recruit the best and brightest scientists and physician scientists in partnership with Case Western Reserve University, and to develop a system-level approach to our educational programs. So with that, I think that's my last slide. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, actually, because of Dan's not being here. And so this is my last slide, and I think we can certainly entertain a few questions. As I said at the outset, all of us as speakers will do our best to answer questions by email if we don't get to it, but I'll try to answer them in real time as we have a few extra minutes. And as I said, they're going to come to me by text, so I have to look at my phone. I apologize for that. All right. Well, we do have two questions that have come in. I'll take these on first. Question number one is, you spoke to us about Jobs Ohio. What is the UH focus within that? So, university hospitals, basically, the support that we were given is to help three areas. It's all focused on research and innovation. One is to recruit faculty, research faculty. Number two is to enhance our grant portfolio. And number three is in innovation, development of technologies. The resources will be used, are housed in University Hospitals Research and Education Institute, and will be used to support efforts broadly within the enterprise, within the Harrington Discovery Institute, and finally within UH Ventures to advance new technologies, particularly diagnostics and devices, excuse me. All right. The other question that's come through is about the support for academics, academic faculty. So maybe I can go back just one slide so people can see that reference is so increased support for academic activities at the system level. So this is, again, this concept is, if you'll allow me the term academic RVU. Over the last few years, Drs. Technos and Miller in particular have developed academic RVU models for their respective entities that have been enormously successful, both in terms of faculty productivity and overall grant accumulation. And so what Dr. Simon and I have advanced for next year is to start to develop a model that can be extended to the entire system. We have a subgroup of leaders that are going to help us think through how this can be done effectively, with the aspirational hope of launching this program, Academic RVU, I'll call it for short, for 2023.